people want to buy things on Prime Day. And even if you don't do anything different, nothing different, you'll still see a bump in sales for the most part.
Yeah.
And if you've got the right product, people are going to buy it anyways. Hey everyone, this is Norm Farrar, aka the Beard Guy here, and welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the e-commerce and Amazon FBA podcast. Today, we're going to be discussing cracking the code to Amazon FBA success in 2023. We're going to talk about what's happening in the world of Kevin King, the updates and trends, new updates and trends in Amazon, and what's Kevin excited about. All right, welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the e-commerce and Amazon FBA podcast. All right, like I just mentioned, we're going to be talking about cracking the code to Amazon FBA success in 2023. Our guest has been involved with internet marketing and e-commerce since 1995. He sells millions of dollars of products on Amazon, and he also mentors sellers collectively, doing over $500 million. Yep, that's with a B, $500 million a year on Amazon in the Freedom Ticket and Helium 10 Elite Masterminds. He also organizes one of my favorite events, the $1 Billion Seller Summit, which I just came back from Puerto Rico, and Kevin's going to give us an update on that. And by the way, he's giving one of the most incredible giveaways on Wheel of Kelsey today, so stay tuned. And like I mentioned, this is our return guest, Kevin King. So before we get to Kevin, let's have a word from our sponsor. This episode of Lunch with Norm is sponsored by FBA Philippines. Looking for a high-quality virtual assistant for your business? With the rigorous screening, intensive Amazon and Walmart training, and ongoing professional development, get the peace of mind with skilled and motivated virtual assistants for a long-term working relationship. Hire through FBA today, and now let's get back to the show. Welcome, Mr. King.
What's up, Mr. Norm? How you doing?
Good. I see you're not branding my...
No, I'm branding the Aggies today. Sorry, man.
Wow. I'm hurt.
But you said you're fine and dandy, but do you have candy?
I do have candy.
You're fine and dandy. You got to have candy.
I just wanted to say the word dandy because I haven't heard it in such a long time.
You're just showing your age there.
Yeah, exactly. So how are you? I haven't seen you in like a week.
No, I'm alive and I'm doing well. I just threw a 4th of July party last night, so had like several people over, including some people like Manny Coates, who started Helium 10, was stopped by. So just waking up and recovering from that. Got a mess to clean up out in the living room.
Oh, that's why you haven't been returning any of my Facebook messages.
That's right. Yeah, yesterday I wasn't online. I just getting on for today, just for you.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you so much. Look, there's so much to talk about. $1 Billion Seller Summit was probably the best turnout and the best event that you've ever had, I would think. At least talking to the people.
That's not what you said a minute ago. What you said a minute ago is you said it's one of your favorites. You didn't say it was your favorite. You said it was one of. So I want to know, what are the other ones? What's my competition?
Don't put me on the spot, Kevin. Okay, the best. Wait, there's no other event.
The list of sponsors, and that's what you're supposed to name
in the history of the universe, other than $1 Billion Seller Summit, virtual or live.
There you go.
Just saying.
That's just because we had cigars every night. See what happened at this hotel. We were in Puerto Rico, and we booked it's a nice hotel in Puerto Rico called the Vanderbilt. And I didn't know this, but what I'm about to tell you, but one of Norm and I's traditions when we get together is every night we have cigars. It doesn't matter if it's 20 degrees below zero in Idaho or on a ship in Alaska, or if it's 120 degrees sitting on a balcony in Austin in the summer. We always have a cigar. And so at the first night we get together, it's me, Norm, and Kelsey. in Puerto Rico, and we're like, where can we have a cigar? Like, well, I've got a balcony on my room. Let's just sit outside on this balcony. So we sit out there and smoke a cigar and have a Coke Zero. And then the next day, um, from the guy from Cellar Basics, Paul Raffleson, he was like, oh, I'm surprised I didn't see you guys in the cigar lounge last night. And we're like, what cigar? You mean the one down the street? He's like, no, the one right here in the hotel. It's right next to the bar. And Norm and I looked at each other like we had no idea. And sure as SAT, there was a cigar lounge right there in the bar. So we the next 3 nights we closed that down, and I think the hired help went home, and we stayed in there for another couple of hours.
The last night was like 4:30 in the morning. It was killer getting up the next day.
Yeah, but you know what? It was worth it though, right?
We're going to be talking about events and networking a little bit later on, but that is a perfect example when, and for anybody listening, we do it around a campfire. We do it around a cigar lounge. People come in, we start talking. Like Paul came in for the whole evening, and we started talking. We heard stories. We didn't break bread. We smoked cigars, but we learned a lot about each other, and we learned education. And then the next night, we had Antonio in there, Bindi, and he was talking, and there's just so much knowledge that came out. Sarah Pink was in there. And anyways, this is one of the things that I stress so much on this podcast is it is so important to go out. If it's virtual, that's great, but there's nothing like the networking that you can do sitting around a campfire, either eating marshmallows or smoking a cigar. It really truly is probably the most information that you'll get. It'll just come up and it's like, holy crap, I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, it's not just the tips though. It's also just the relationships that you build and the bonding. Right. And some of it's because I was thinking about like, well, Paul, Paul Raffleson was telling some stories, and most of you may know he's Cellar Basics. He's a guy that if you don't know who he is, he's probably the lead person that helped change the tax rules on Amazon, as far as getting it to where Amazon became a marketplace and started taking marketplace taxes rather than the sellers being responsible for them. Plus a whole bunch of other stuff that he's done. I'm sure he's been on your podcast here, but he was telling stories about entrepreneurship, about when he was younger, things he did when he was going through law school and things he did, his side hustles and different stuff. And we can relate to that. Norm and I look at each other. Yep, yeah, we can relate. You tell those same stories in just amongst a group of friends or your family, they're just looking at you like you're a weirdo, or they don't quite get it, or they're just flabbergasted. But when we're talking like that, we're like, we get each other. That's the thing about these events is it's other entrepreneurs, it's other people with a similar mindset. And there's something refreshing about that beyond just the cool tactics and things you might learn in a conversation. But you can relate. You realize that, hey, you're not the only weirdo out there. You might be the only beardo, but you're not the only weirdo.
Yeah. Beardos are not weirdos. I'm just putting it out there right now. But we're going to hook back towards the end, and we're going to talk about networking as well. This just sort of came up in small talk. So, I just wanted to stress that again. It's so important. Now, I know we're going to be getting questions. We've already got a couple questions in, but by the end of this podcast, we'll probably have a ton. So if you are interested in any questions, just throw them over in the comments section. All right, Kevin, is there anything that you're seeing right now in Amazon that's trending or think people are doing differently in 2023?
Well, there's quite a bit, but the hot topic, like for the next week or so, is all Prime Day. And that's something that I'm a little bit different than the crowd on. Everybody's putting out, every service provider in the world and every teacher in the world is putting out, here's the 7 hacks for Prime Day, or what you need to do to prepare. And I'm of the opposite school. I don't do anything. I don't do squat. I don't do anything different for Prime Day, other than make sure I have inventory, and make sure there's inventory and stock and a little bit extra if I might need it. But all these promotions that everybody's doing, all these gear up for this, gear up for that, I think is a waste of time. Unless you have a lightning deal, or you got a deal of the day, or you're in one of those things, you can move some serious inventory. or if you want to actually get rid of something. So maybe you ordered 1,000 units and only 200 of them have sold over the last 6 months. You're like, I got to get rid of these 800. Then it makes sense to actually do some sort of crazy promotion on those and put a big coupon and take advantage of that extra traffic to try to wipe some of those out. But if it's your normal selling products, you're a fool to actually discount them on Prime Day, in my opinion. You're a fool. I would not do that. You may have a one-day hit, and you may have an increase in sales because you gave 20% off your best-selling SKU, but you just shot yourself in the foot. People would pay the money anyway for it. It's not going to really change anything anywhere where you're going to rank. It's a one-day thing. You're better off, in my opinion, to put all the energy that people put into it's marketing BS by Amazon. It's great for Amazon. I mean, it's wonderful for Amazon, but you're better off to put those, in my opinion, and I'm different than most people, put that energy into the fourth quarter, because in the fourth quarter, every day is a Prime Day almost. From Christmas, from basically Thanksgiving time in the US until shortly after Christmas, till early January. Those days for me are always better selling days than any Prime Day, unless there's an exception to that. Unless I have a lightning deal or a Prime Day deal or one of those special offers where Amazon's really putting you in front of everybody. But those are hard to get, and even if you pay the $500 and up to get one of those, there's no guarantee where you're going to land. I know people that have sent in way extra units and got stuck with them and ended up paying a lot of storage fees, and because they ended up on page 7 or 10 or whatever of the deals that day. And yeah, they had an increase in sales, but it wasn't what they were hoping for or expecting. And then you hear other stories of someone that just crushes it on Prime Day, and does 200 grand on a single SKU or something because they were on the front page of a lightning deal or on the main deals of the day page, or they did something in that way. So that's my philosophy on it, which is quite a bit different than everything else you're going to hear out there from everybody else who joins in the hype and just tries to capitalize on that.
I agree, Kevin. Like, excuse me. By the time you do the discounting, by the time you pay, if you're increasing your PPC, you could get killed. You could absolutely get killed. You could get a lot of sales, but let's say you get, and I've told you about this. I was doing some work with a bracelet company, and they decided that they were going to just target a ton of traffic over to their Amazon listing on Prime Day. They took such a huge discount. They sold into the 6 figures, and they're telling me, oh, we did this, but they lost. Yeah, they lost money.
They lost money, and they probably didn't boost them at all. And they ended up just most likely losing some money. And a lot of those people probably they might have bought a competing product if they hadn't had theirs on discount. They're looking for a spatula and theirs was 20% off. Maybe they bought another spatula because they were saving. A lot of people, they wait for Prime Day. I know several people that I know have said, I'm not going to order anything this week. I'll just hold off because on Prime Day, maybe I'll get a little bit of a discount. The consumers, that is. And that could be, but it's a 1 day or 2 day technically thing. And it's just, you never discount to people that would pay full price. You should only be discounting to get rid of something or to reward somebody for something. Customers, if you want to reward them for being a loyal customer, or if you're launching something. Those are the only 3 days. And Prime Day is not a great day to launch something. So it's that you should not be launching something on Prime Day. So that's just me on it. So I just ride the wave. Yeah, my sales will go up. I might get 2x, 3x, 4x, something, whatever. It depends on the product. And I'm like, that's cool. But I know I'm making money on every single one of those, and it's not going to change anything as far as my ranking or anything down the road.
People want to buy things on Prime Day, and even if you don't do anything different, nothing different, you'll still see a bump in sales for the most part.
Yeah.
And if you've got the right product, people are going to buy it anyways. There are like certain products that just don't fall into it, but for the most part, like for me, I'm in the beauty and pet category. I'm going to see a bump in sales, and that's regardless if I put the price down at all. One of the things that we talk about is pre-Prime Day. So sometimes we'll promote that we're having a pre-Prime Day sale. You just said that you don't discount it at all, but if my sales are lingering, and I've seen this with some of the clients we manage right now, the majority of them are starting to just dive sales volumes out because they're waiting for Prime Day in a week or two. But what we'll do is we'll stimulate that just by putting a pre-Prime Day sale out there.
Now that could make sense where if you do a small little discount,
yeah,
just to try to maintain those averages a little bit higher as they're normally falling to motivate them. That would be, but I wouldn't do a heavy discount, and I would on that. But you might be able to gain a little bit of ranking or something by doing that. So that goes back to what I just said. Unless you should not be doing discounts unless it's for ranking reasons or the reasons I gave. Ranking, that would fall under ranking right there. What you're talking about,
right? Yeah, and PPC, it's so dangerous, especially if you're new to the Amazon game. Amazon will want you to spend as much as you can, but you have to remember, like Kevin just said, it's an inventory game. If you have the inventory, and typically, and I learned this from Brian Johnson, but as for the first part, the first third, if I'm doing my average regular PPC, I'm not changing. In fact, I'm lowering the bid at the beginning, bringing it up to 2/3 of the way through. And then if I am going to use PPC, that's the last third is when I'm going to bring it up, because the 2/3 of the day, the people that are out of inventory are gone. And now I have a better chance at landing it at a better bid. But that's something that if you are going to be doing it, but this is my opinion, don't go in, don't bid high. All you're going to do is just blow your cash. I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
No, that's just I think I've said my piece on that. I'm all for Prime Day from Amazon's perspective, but from a seller's perspective, just be careful.
Yeah, and
use it strategically. Don't just fall in line with all the hype.
And Walmart's come out with their Walmart Plus days, which starts a day earlier and a day after. So if you are on Walmart, you'll probably notice that you'll get a spike in sales. I know last year when this happened, I was talking to Mikal Chapnick, and she was saying all the clients that she had, for the most part, saw a spike in sales, even though it's not as much as Amazon. If you are on Walmart, just take note that I think it's running from the 10th to the 13th. Anyways, it's a 4-day sale. So I'm not sure if you knew about that, Kev.
Yeah, I knew they did. I'm not selling right now actively on Walmart, so I didn't know the particulars, but I knew they did something around it. Almost everybody does. All the other online retailers do something around it.
Right. Okay, so if you do have any questions, throw them over into the comments section, and we'll be taking them towards the top of the hour. I'm kind of curious, at the BDSS, you were dropping some really great knowledge. And like I said, I really liked your presentation, not to blow your ego up, but just to let you know, I liked your presentation. And I'm not sure.
That's the one you slept through, right?
Yeah, I wasn't in the room.
You're dreaming. You're dreaming well through my presentation.
I was running to get my clothes. If people don't know about this, I had no clothes for the longest period of time.
The emperor has no clothes.
The emperor with no clothes. That's right. But anyways, what's up? What are you doing right now? What's new?
I've got several. I'm launching a new brand that we've been working on this one for a while, the sustainable dog stuff. We kind of made a pivot. I talked about it about a year ago, where we're going to be using NFT audiences to help NFTs to help build an audience around it. Well, NFTs have kind of taken a little. They haven't gone away, and there's still some really good projects out there and some really good ways to make money in that. But it's kind of the luster is falling off a little bit, and some things have changed in that market. And we're still using that, but we've decided to actually pivot on it a little bit and actually focus more on the newsletter side of things. That's what I talked about at $1 Billion Seller Summit is newsletters. And when I say newsletters, some people just roll their eyes, and most people think of a promotional email that's being sent out by MailChimp or one of the other programs. If you're a service provider, or if you're an individual seller, you've been getting all these things, and the subject says Jungle Scout newsletter. It says such and such company's newsletter. And you open it up and it's just a bunch of bullshit. It's just a bunch of promo. Come buy our this, or we just announced this new tool or whatever. And it goes for Helium 10, it goes for everybody. I'm not picking on anybody. It's virtually everybody in this business, including Lunch with Norm newsletter. It's all promotional, and that's not a newsletter. That's a promotional email. And so people get them mixed up. A newsletter should be 90% value and 10% promotional, or 10% or less promotional. And the value needs to be in the newsletter. It's, there's some people in this industry, and I gave examples at the $1 Billion Seller Summit, that it's just a bunch of links. It's like a Drudge Report or something, if you're familiar with that website. And it's just, you got to go click out. Someone's just assembled a bunch of links to Amazon stories on CNBC or on somebody's blog or whatever. You got to go click out, and that's not a newsletter either. That's a compilation of a bunch of links. The newsletter needs to be something that you can read in 5-10 minutes max, but ideally in 5 minutes or less, and actually walk away with that. If you never click a single link in there, if you never do anything else, you just learn something. It's actionable. It's not go read our blog about how to rank, 7 steps to do better on Prime Day. Click here. That's promotional. Versus if you change that, make that a paragraph and say, on Prime Day, the number one tactic is, stacking coupons. You should have 5 different coupon stacks. You should have a list price. You should have this price. You should have a bundle price. You should have a Prime Day deal, and you should have a clippable coupon, and have a 5 clickable stack. And this is then if you want to that way, I'm like, oh wow, I need to do these 5 things, and then you can have a link that says, for a detailed SOP or something, click here. And it's free. There's no charge. There's no lead magnet. That would be more of a newsletter. So I'm doing that. I have one coming out for the Amazon space. You see it there on the screen where it says $billiondollarsellers.com. It's going to be debuting later this month or early August. I've got an advanced list of 500 people that'll get it initially for the first few weeks, and then it'll go out to everybody else. And then we're doing it for products. So not only for Amazon sellers, we're doing it for products. And that's why I talked about at BDSS is whether you're selling automotive products or pet products or kitchen gadgets or whatever, you should be doing something like this, in my opinion, to actually build audiences and build raving fans, and have it on a regular basis, and where it's geared toward that audience. Some people write blog posts and they'll say, go to my website and here's 10 steps to making better steak with our knives or whatever. But they got to go to the blog, or they got to see it if it's in a Facebook feed or a TikTok. You got to hope that they see it. If you build a newsletter, you're building a list of engaged people who actually want to hear from you, and you're messaging them with something of value every single day. And that's what you want to be doing. And then when you have a new product to launch, or when you have a Prime Day advanced sale, like you were just talking about, to mention, you can mention that in there, or you could do a separate email that's just promotional. It depends on what you need to do. But you can do it to test products. Like we're doing it with our dogs stuff. We have a newsletter. It's aimed at, we niche down. So it's not broad. It's not like dog lovers. It's dog lovers who are sustainable, who are into sustainability. So that's a niche down. That's taking the big dog lover subset and niching it down to the sustainable people. And then we're doing stuff around that. So there's some things about dogs. Like here's a tip on like a trivia thing. Did you know, a dog can, how good his nose is, or which dog is, some sort of trivia thing about dogs. And then there's stuff, news, there's different sections about different dog related stuff. It could be, here's Charlie the dog. It's a fire rescue dog, and he just saved 6 lives last year, or whatever. It could be another thing that's informational about, here's how to, if your dog is constantly barking, here's 3 things that you can do to make him stop, or whatever it may be. And then we can sprinkle in occasionally, here's a featured product. It may not be our product. It may be a competitor's product, because I'm thinking about selling Norm's dog beds. And I'm wondering if my audience is going to buy Norm's dog beds that he's got. I could put an affiliate link in there and let me see, and then get feedback from those people, and then decide maybe my audience is big enough here. I should launch my own dog bed, because obviously my audience is into dog beds. And then you can grow the newsletters through outside of Amazon. It's not just count on someone on Amazon coming on and actually filling out your warranty card or getting your insert and signing up. You should do that, but there's ways to grow these things way beyond Amazon and it's a powerful industry in and of itself. And your newsletter, if you do it right, should be a profit center in and of itself. And there's newsletters that have been built over the last few years that have sold for millions of dollars by themselves without having this product element, without having this Amazon or Walmart side to it. You mix that into it, and it's, I believe it's hugely, hugely powerful. Most people that do newsletters come from a journalism background, and they're writers, they're creative or the writers type of people, and they're not product people. But us, as if we can marry these two together in the proper way, it can do magic. And like I talked about in my presentation, I did this 25 years ago, before there was much of it. Amazon existed then, but it was nothing. But we did something similar to this, and we stopped it in 2003. We had 250,000 people a day getting a newsletter from us. And we had a game in there, we had news in there, we had trivia, we had a whole bunch of stuff, and we had product sales. Back then it wasn't to Amazon, it was to our own website, but we built got 2,000 people off our newsletter to pay us $30 a month, just for an upgrade off the newsletter. So a lot of people just want it free, but that's 60 grand a month in free money that we basically got to. And then we would sell products. We'd sell, some of you know I do calendars and stuff. We'd sell the calendars. We sell different products. It works extremely well, and nobody's really doing it right. And marrying these two together, and that's a hot topic. It's not necessarily for a beginner. If you're just new to this and just trying to get your feet wet with Amazon, it may be a little bit above your pay grade right now, but it's something you should be thinking about. But if you're an experienced seller, been doing this for a while, this should be a no-brainer.
Kevin, I just sent you a Facebook message just about a half hour before we got on. You probably didn't read it. You don't read many of my messages anymore. But anyways, I was just on the phone, and maybe they're listening, but I'm not going to say who they are, but they have a brand, a very successful brand, selling forever, 50,000 emails, and they have an engagement rate of, and I'm talking a conversion rate. Okay, not an open rate, a conversion rate of over 10% when they send out their emails. And I'm sitting there going, they have the email, they have the address, they have the phone number. And I started talking to them about the newsletter. This is absolutely perfect. Oh, look who's sneaking in here. Come and say hi to Kevin. She's pouring me my coffee. But anyways, it's incredible that people have it. Like I've told you about the company that I've worked with. I don't work with anymore. That had 280,000 emails, and here she is.
Hey, Connie, how are you doing?
All right. So she can't hear because I have my earphones in. But anyways, these are areas that when you started talking about it, I heard about this from you a little while ago, and it was something that it's like press releases. People, it's old school marketing. That's how I'd like to put it. It's old school marketing.
And some people think like nobody reads emails anymore, and they do if they opt in. They opt in. That's the difference. Like, so these people that have, what'd you say, 50,000 emails?
50,000 emails.
So that's good, but you can't just send your newsletter to those 50,000. That would be a mistake. If you say, hey, here's our newsletter, and you blindly send it to those 50,000, even though you said that's a pretty engaged audience, they get a 10% response rate on buys on that. That's good. But if you do that, you're going to hurt yourself, because there's a lot of stuff around email deliverability. This is why I stopped back in 2003, because that's when the CAN-SPAM Act came out, and our 250,000 emails that were going into everybody's inbox all of a sudden started going into promotional tabs or other places. And so and back then there weren't all these sophisticated tools and rules and everything. It was just basically black or white, is on or off. Now, if you play by the rules and have certain open rates and do certain things, and Google has, Gmail owns over 50% of all emails in the world are Gmail or Gmail related. So if you go by what they want you to do, you'll get in those inboxes. So if you just blast out those 50,000 customers, I guarantee you half of those are going into a promotional tab or not. But and the ones that are getting in, some of those people aren't reading it. But if they've opted, what you want to do is send to those people properly in stages, and then have them opt into a newsletter, and then do something. And when they get the newsletters, the steps and that welcome email, it's crucial. It's like the first date. You got to tell them to do a couple different things in that email, and most people will do it. And when they do that, you're all the time in their inbox from then on out, and they want to see that. I mean, I get newsletters now, and sometimes I get about 20 a day that I'm following right now, from AI stuff to dog stuff to marketing stuff. Not counting all the Amazon people that are blasting me left and right because I went into I went into a webinar, and they're just spamming the heck out of me. But those I most are delete, don't even open them. But the ones that I get, if I don't have time to read, I spend about an hour a day. I sit down. It's like a relaxing time. I should have a cigar, but I like Norm does. But I just sit with my iPad and I just read them. If I don't have time that day, then I don't delete those emails. It's kind of like when you get a coupon for $20 off a free pizza at your favorite pizza place. No purchase necessary. In the mail, you're like, well, today I don't really need pizza. I got some food. I went to McDonald's, or my wife just made food or whatever. But you put that coupon, you save it. You put it up on the refrigerator for the next day or the weekend or whatever. It's the same thing with these emails. I want to read what they have. And the way the emails are done is they have a personality to them. So that's the key, is when you're reading this email, they're written in a style that there's a personality on these emails. And so you like the way they write it or the way they give the information. And that's critical. It's not just a bunch of facts and here's just someone writing. There's a whole methodology to this. And that's what I explained at the $1 Billion Seller Summit. And somebody here is actually going to get that presentation for free.
Yeah, we're going to get to that right now. So perfect timing. We have a lot of people that are listening right now. If this is the first time you're listening to the podcast, at the end of the podcast, we have something called the Wheel of Kelsey, where we give away something free every podcast. Today, we've got something really special. And I mean, this is an awesome giveaway. Kevin, why don't you tell us what it is?
Yeah, sure. So we're the Wheel of Kelsey today. I'm going to give away a free replay of the recent Puerto Rico $1 Billion Seller Summit. So this was it's just coming out today. So even Norm, who was there, he doesn't have it yet. He's going to be getting it today, along with whoever wins the Wheel of Kelsey. So I sell them. You can go buy one if you don't win today for $1,500, $1,497. To come to the event, it's about $6,000. But I sell there's a lot of advantage, like Norm and I talked about earlier, to actually be in an event in person. But I do have the replays, and it's all 20. It's 20. I think there's 26 videos in there, including the Family Feud contest. It's in there, fun. And a few others are in there. Some good ones. And you'll get that absolutely. Whoever wins today's Wheel of Kelsey is going to get that absolutely free. So I guess what's the rules here? They got to go tag somebody.
That's it. So hashtag Wheel of Kelsey, tag 2 people, and you'll get a second chance. Or second entry. So again, it's BDSS. If you couldn't get out to Puerto Rico this year, it was awesome. It's probably the best set of content that I've experienced at BDSS. I mean, it's always high level. I mean, you always sell out, and that's why I tell people when you have your events, they better buy their tickets early because they sell out. And just like in Puerto Rico, 120 people, you maxed out, I think, at 120. And
I could have 100, but
100,
and we had 98. There's a few people. We had about 18 people that bought a ticket, and for whatever reason, they couldn't make it, so they rolled them over to the next year. But yeah, there's 98 plus. Then we add staff and speakers. Yeah, it's about 120 people.
Yeah, and they all pay $6,000. So the reason is because of the quality of the content. So hashtag Wheel of Kelsey, tag 2 people, and you'll get entered to win the full set of recordings. Okay, so now let's all go over to a quick sponsor, and we'll come back with Kevin. This episode of Lunch with Norm is sponsored by SureGo Marketing. Ready to take your brand to the next level on TikTok and Instagram? SureGo Marketing specializes in helping entrepreneurs and coaches build profitable brands on TikTok and Instagram, and in less than 90 days. With SureGo Marketing, you can build your brand, create incredible video content, and increase leads without spending a single dime on ad spend. Visit SureGoMarketing.com today and elevate your brand. Now, let's get back to the show. All right. So I see that we have 6 questions. There'll be probably some more coming in. Why don't we get to those just to make sure that we have the time to answer them all?
Sure.
Okay, so we got some questions about AI from Jet. Please talk about AI and how to leverage AI in your business. Maybe some of your favorite tactics or tips recently, if you have any.
Yeah, that's a long talk.
That's a big one.
That's a big one. The short ones is what people you've seen out there with software companies and people are hyping. Be careful of the hype right now. Everybody's jumping on this bandwagon, so just be careful who you follow. And if you get the replays, you're gonna actually there's one of the presentations is all about AI from Steve Simonson. That's excellent. It's way beyond what most people are just doing now with using AI to help them rewrite their bullet points or to rewrite their description or do some analysis on the reviews. And those are all great things, and you should be doing that. But it goes way, 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 way beyond that. And that's what Steve Simonson it shows in his presentation, and whoever wins today's Wheel of Kelsey. Also, like what I just talked about the newsletters, we're using it there. We're not letting AI write the newsletter. A lot of people may have a tendency to do that. We let it do a lot of the research, a lot of the legwork, a lot of the composition, a lot of the ideation. AI right now is really good for ideation, whether it's with images or coming out with new product ideas and creating multiple variations of a product on the fly, and then running a pick-foo or some other kind of test on those. That's a really good use case right now for product development. Probably the best use case. I mean, the review analysis is good, but some of the tools already kind of do that. And if you're not a native English speaker, maybe you can get a little bit of help, writing your listings and stuff. But the problem with AI is it tends to write everything the same way. So it uses a lot of the same verbs and a lot of the same things, and it's not super creative yet. It's gonna get there, but you got to be careful. I mean, I can have it go in, like for this podcast, I can Norm and Kelsey could take the transcript and run it through AI and say, "Yeah, write the summary that we're going to put up for SEO," and it would do it. It read the whole transcript of the podcast and do that. But a lot of times you're going to see those are written in a very similar way. They're going to use a lot of the same.
We've got you covered.
A lot of the same words. Or you could say, give me 6 titles for the podcast. 6 potential titles for this podcast for SEO. And 4 of them have the word enlightening topic or something like that. And so you got to be careful. It's great to get you going for brainstorming, but be careful on relying on it too heavily. That would be, but there's lots of ways, like everything from shipping optimization to product research to optimize to taking, I think you could replace some people. Some people might lose their job, or not necessarily lose their job, but have their job refocused.
Yeah.
But everything in AI, the power right now is in prompt engineering. So if you're not good, and anybody can go into OpenAI, or there's like 200 different tools. It's not just OpenAI or ChatGPT. That's the big one. There's about 200 other ones out there, and it's growing. They're all called LLMs, or they're language models. And there's a lot of independent ones. If you go into ChatGPT, it's censored. If you type something sexual in there, it may not give you an answer, or it may say something, I'm not allowed to talk about that. Other ones, they'll talk about anything. They're not trying to be PC like the big companies are. So there's a lot of hallucination in it. So a lot of times, sometimes it'll make stuff up. You got to be careful on some of that. So the technology is game changing. Like Steve Simonson says, it's as important as the invention of fire to humankind, or maybe the wheel. It's going to change. It is going to change our lives in a huge way. It's in its infancy right now, but the key thing that you should be doing right now is actually following it, playing around with it a little bit as you have time, and using it if it makes sense in some of your business, but actually stay on top of it. And there's some great newsletters out there that will actually, I would recommend, like Superhumans, a short one. Neon Pulse is one. Bot Eat? Let me see here. I have it. Yeah, Neon Pulse is one. There's several others, like the Hustle or Morning Brew, that covered a little bit. There's Man Eat Bot. That's what it is. Man Eat Bot is another good one. They will keep you kind of up to date on what's happening in this their newsletters. Exactly what I just talked about a minute ago. But those are good ones to follow, just to keep your pulse on it, even if you don't have time to go into the weeds. Other use, I mean, but it's gonna make everybody more efficient. Yeah, I could keep going. I mean, to go into specifics here, we need hours.
I mean, that could be a whole other podcast that maybe we could talk about that the next time you come up next month. I'm committing you to next month, by the way.
Sure. For Beard Nation, anything.
All right. But it's so important. I talked to everybody before about the digital marketer AI accelerator boot camp that I took about 4 months ago. Anyways, it was a real eye opener. However, they've got Accelerator 2 right now. I was just talking to Mark DeGrasse, and he said that they've got the Accelerator 2, and what they're doing with this, because there's a lot of focus on ChatGPT, is that that's what they're focused on. The other, the first one was talking about building out your brand using different APIs, different apps that are out there. But this one specifically is working with ChatGPT, so you can understand how to use it, how to edit the prompts, how to work with the prompts. And like you said, Kevin, it's all about prompt development. We did this yesterday, again, going down, long-winded, but Kelsey, we had a staff meeting yesterday. And so Afalabi and Kelsey, and we had, everybody on, and we were talking about how this funnel should look. And I used ChatGPT, and I spent the time. I took about 2 hours, 3 hours to put together this new look. And it was incredible what it came up with. What it was good, but without my instruction, which took about 90 minutes worth of typing, the information that came out of ChatGPT, we had the funnel, we had the swipe emails, we had everything that looks fantastic. It made a huge difference. Even making sure that the titles, meta titles, and meta descriptions were engaged, like really engaging, keyword SEO optimized. But it would not have come out if I would have just typed in, create a funnel, and here are the keywords. It would have sucked.
Yeah, it's garbage in, garbage out. And the more specific you can be, that's why a lot of photographers and artists love AI right now. A lot of people are like, oh, shoot, the photographers and artists are going to be out of business. They not going to need to take pictures anymore because AI, you can go into AI on a prompt and just tell it exactly what you want, and it'll create a picture. That's pretty far from the truth. The artists and photographers, they're the ones that know the technical details. They're the ones that know different f-stops and different camera angles and different lenses and all this kind of stuff. When they can be specific in there, and they know way more than probably me and Norm on any of that stuff, they can be specific. They can get amazing results. Their creativity just went up 10 notches because of that. So or they can enhance what they're already doing in the real world and can just take it to that next level. And it's amazing. I was just talking about this with Manny Coach yesterday with what rendering can do, what you can do now with AI on your desktop. If you got a decent laptop or desktop computer, what you can do now in under a minute. Used to take these CGI labs in Hollywood. They're doing, Star Wars and all this stuff, weeks to do. You can do in under a minute yourself. This total cool, creative type of stuff, and it's coming to video next. It's in images right now, but you're going to be able to do this with video. And even like another use case for a lot of you listening right now may be, if you're doing any kind of TikTok stuff or Reels or YouTube Shorts, and you got a long form video, it can cut that up. It can cut it up. The AI can actually go into your YouTube channel, pull the video off, actually see where the drop points are. Like this section here, or during this broadcast right now, it can see where the rises and falls are. Of this broadcast, where people are like, they're engaged or they're like, that's kind of boring, I'm going to step away. And it can go in and automatically grab those 10 or 20 second segments that were the most engaging, or they can also tell based on the transcript, based on what we're saying, what's engaging. and they will grab that out automatically and cut your video up, cut this podcast up into 10, 30-second snippets that you can then, and it'll automatically format them for the YouTube size, automatically format another set for Instagram, another set for Reels, another set for Shorts, and then you blast that out. And that used to take a VA, half a day or a day to have to mess with that, and you had to tell them which parts were the good parts. Now AI can do that in a matter of minutes. So that's one of a good use case for a lot of people that you should be doing.
Right. So there's no excuse for not having content.
That's right. Content is king.
Kevin King.
All right, from Nathan. Hey, Norm, Kevin, and Kelsey. If someone has been out of the loop for 6 to 12 months, what main changes Amazon strategy industry should they look into to avoid problems or being beat by competitors?
Amazon's constantly evolving and changing. The biggest change over the last, whether it's the last 6 or 12 months or the last couple of years, is the need to actually do proper branding. Gone are the days where you can just go into you can find a niche using Helium-10, find the product on Amazon, come up with a name for it, stick it up on Amazon, and do a few ranking things and get it going. I'm not going to say that doesn't work anymore. It works in rare occasions or people that get lucky, but for the vast majority, it's much more sophisticated and much more complicated to sell on Amazon now. You got to wear more hats than you used to. You got to be on top of more things. And you really need to do branding, and you need to know how to do off-site marketing, off Amazon marketing, whether that's driving the traffic to Amazon or to Walmart, whichever platform you're focusing on, or both, or to your own website, which I don't recommend in the beginning. But I recommend that later on, but not in the very beginning. That's the keys. And then proper branding, not just come up with a logo and a name, but true branding, building loyal customers, and learning how to leverage these platforms to actually build an audience that you own and control. Those are some of the big changes to avoid being beat by the competition. And each one of those, we could sit here and talk for 2 hours on each individual one of those points. But that's some of the stuff. Come into it with, this is a real business. It takes real effort and real energy and real know-how. Now it's not a get rich quick. Throw up a garlic press and head to Cancun and come back a year later and sell your business for $1 million.
Right.
That's not going to happen.
Hey, by the way, I don't know if you saw in the comment file section, Kevin, Antonio's here, our cigar buddy.
Oh, we got to quit talking about him.
Yeah, we got it. Whoop.
Oh,
Yep, right back at you, Antonio.
Yeah.
All the way from Brazil.
Man, I hope he wasn't here when we were talking that smack about him.
Yeah, I hope not. We'll have to edit it out in the final version.
Yeah, for sure. Cut that out.
Okay, so we'll take a couple more questions and then that's it.
Okay, from Redbeard, what is a good layout for an Amazon storefront? Like, which tiles are the best to use? Do you have any tips for design? That would be greatly appreciated.
That sounds like a Norm question. You do a lot more. I do them for myself, but you do them for a lot more experience with different clients.
So first of all, if you do have a combination of virtual bundles, if you can get up to 15 A+ pages, then you can apply to get A++ or premium A+ pages. And I would always head that way if you can. But if you can't, and by the way, you'll need to have your brand story and your A+ in the theme to apply. So just a sec here. All right. So the other thing is it's a mixture. It's not writing a novel. Nobody wants to write a novel, even in your brand story. When you're writing it, you just want to keep it nice and concise. Don't over exaggerate, just make it compelling, run it through ChatGPT and see what it has to say. But also then they've got so many different modules now that you can use. So we like carousels. We like using really nice, rich product images or product shots. We also like the carousels with also image and text. Videos are a really big part. And when we do it, there's 3 layers for the most part. We like doing that first page with your best sellers and more about the brand itself, really high quality stuff. The second page could be for the different product lines that you have, and it's like a mini website. And then the third page is that product page on fire. And that's what we're doing. Like with, if you go to your product, if you're driving traffic over to your storefront, or if people end up on your storefront, people don't realize how the quality of the storefront can look. Like those 3 layers really give you an advantage over your competition. And one of the areas that I would do, and this is with every storefront, is make sure that you can drive traffic over to your follow button, and just make sure that it is showing arrow pointing down to follow in your storefront, because you want to, that's part of your brand community that you want to build it out. But the worst thing that you can do is put a lot of text into your storefront page. People don't want to read, they want to see. So that's about it.
Good stuff.
All right. So let's see. Next question from MM. What are your thoughts on a curated gift box company featuring local products? I'm having trouble sourcing out premium packaging as this is my first PL idea.
Yeah, that's a tough one. So you're like, are these, I'm assuming you're doing like something like regional. So if I was in Austin and I was doing a gift box of local products, I might do a lot of barbecue related stuff that's not distributed nationally, like, you know, maybe the Salt Lick, or probably Salt Lick's actually distributed nationally, but one of the local top barbecue places that have their own sauce, and you can't really get it outside the Austin area, and then maybe some other things like that. So as far as premium packaging, I don't know what you mean by that. I mean, there's a lot of really great packaging companies in the US. You don't even have to go to Asia to do this. I mean, you could if you're doing mass volumes, but if you're just needing 500 or 1,000 packages, don't go to Asia. Do that locally. You'll pay a little bit more. But what's that one website? In a box? No, it's a great packaging idea website. Oh man, I need a box for that. Or what is it?
Yeah, I got a bunch of them here.
There's tons of them. I mean, you can go to Thomas Directory online. Just Google Thomas Directory US online, and then there's a search bar there, and you can type in premium gift packaging or premium boxes, and you'll get a huge list of manufacturers. There's also a packaging show that's in Las Vegas every year. So if you Google largest US trade show for packaging or something along those lines, you should actually find a website for like a show that's, you know, in Vegas or Chicago or Dallas or Atlanta or somewhere like that, and then look on their exhibitor list that's there. And a lot of times those exhibitor lists will have contacts or websites, and you can go and see examples. There's tons. You know, that's how I found when I did I've talked about this in the past, the bully sticks, and I put them in a kind of like a cigar box, a nice cigar box. And my bully stick manufacturer was in New Hampshire. And so I wanted something close to him. I didn't want to make these in California and then have to ship these boxes all the way across the country. So I found somebody in New York that could actually make these. You know, it's one day to get them to him, cheaper to get them to him. They could take their own truck up there. Even you didn't have to ship it UPS or anything. And I used the Thomas Directory to actually find them, and you know, they got samples, and then create a prototype with them, and then went to market. And I was doing in the beginning 1,000 to start with. But those can be good ideas. Just make sure there's enough demand for what you're selling on those gift boxes, and how you're going to position it. Because if I was doing Central Texas barbecue, it's going to take a little bit of marketing to educate people on that. And what are people searching for? Are they searching for barbecue tools, barbecue sauces? What are they actually? What is going to be the lead magnet that's going to get them into your gift box? And make sure that's strong enough and you can compete there at a profitable price.
Yeah, there's I know that a buddy of mine, he's come out, it's taken him years, but he's come out with a e-commerce solution for private label sellers that will take really small runs. I'm talking 50 boxes. And let's say for me, let's say for soap, there's 72 different scents. And I know my Dead Sea Mud soap or my sandalwood soap will sell a lot quicker than some other scents. So I could go and I could just do a copy change, send it over to them. And now I have these boxes, which I used to have to put a sticker on just to put in the key ingredients. Now I can target it for each one, have it labeled. And this machine that he's got is like $7 million. And he's networked with other groups around the world. So no matter where you are, you can get these corrugate, it's all corrugate packages or tuck boxes or whatever it is. So if it's cardstock or corrugate, it's an incredible machine. And anyways, that's it's called Central Graphics, and we can post that in our group if you'd like, and you can check it out. They're an awesome company. They're one of the top 50 managed companies in Canada. He's been a buddy of mine for years, and it's out there now. So it's really something cool to take a look at.
And there's one called thecustomboxes.com that I have in my bookmarks. Another one, if you're into sustainability stuff, there's several that do that. Oops. Let's see if I can find a couple others for you real quick. Looking for premium packaging. Sorry, I just got to scroll through here. There's actually, if you want actually a good training on this, there's something called packaging psychology. I know Norm has talked about this in some of his presentations. I think in the $1 Billion Seller Summit, you'll get something. If the winner of this is going to get a replay, but Nick Kolenda, Nickkolenda, he does marketing psychology. He's got a newsletter, but he actually did a whole breakdown on it's like a PDF guide. If you Google his name and packaging psychology, and you should probably find a link to it, download that, and that may give you some good ideas on packaging as well. He's got a lot of really good examples in there that I recommend.
Okay. So last question, Kels, before we get to the wheel.
All right. Let me see. First, Amy says, hey, guys, two of my favorite guys on one show. It's Amy Weiss. So I just want to shout her out. Good
How's it going, Amy?
What's up, Amy?
Let me see. Next, the last episode, or last question from Adrian. Heard that giveaways are not valid anymore. What are other things we can do for giveaways or ranking?
There's still people doing giveaways, so don't think that that's gone away. It's just a little bit more under the table now. Mm-hmm. But you can have friends and family buy. They can't leave reviews, but I know several people that have reached out to friends and family or people in their network, their church or whatever, and say, hey, I just launched this product. Do you mind supporting me? Go buy it. Sometimes you might give them a rebate back, but you don't have to do that. A lot of them will just do it out, unless your product's crazy expensive, they'll do it just out of support for you. And you can tell them, go click on my ad, start running ads and say, click on my ad. Don't go find the product, but I want you to click where it says sponsored. And you might be saying, why would I do that? I'm going to be paying for that ad. Like, yeah, you want to pay for that ad because it juices the algorithm, because then Amazon's saying, oh, shoot, people are clicking on the ads. And it also looks natural. If your product, when you first launch, is on page 11, it's not very common for a lot of people to scroll to page 11. If Amazon starts seeing with their AI patterns of everybody scrolling to page 11, they're going to be like, some fishy's going on here. But if they're clicking on the ad, then it makes sense. And then that boosts your ad conversions. It helps you show more ads. So there's lots of things you can do around that as well. That's what, use the Vine program for reviews. Whenever possible, there's some tricks around that that you got to be careful with. But some people will put multiple variations of a product. They're only going to sell one, say a red color, but they'll make 30 of a black color and 30 of a pink color. Put them as separate products, get 30 reviews on each, and then merge them together, and maybe never do the black or pink version again. They just do a handful of them as an off. There's people that do that to help get some things going. But advertising, if you have an outside list, if you have a newsletter like what we talked about earlier, a proper newsletter, not a promotional newsletter like 99% of them are, but a proper newsletter, that's a great way to launch as well. The key here, that's kind of back on the question someone said, what's the biggest things that have changed? You need to, on Amazon, in the last 6 to 12 months or even beyond is you need to figure out how to build an audience, your own audience that you completely control. Not Facebook controls because it's on a Facebook page, or TikTok controls because based on the algorithm. Those are great ways you should be using those channels to generate leads, but you need to get everybody to email. You need to get that means to be your number one target on every single thing that you sell or do is how can I get this person to opt in, not just give me their email, but to agree that they want to hear from me additional times. And then if you can get their phone number, great. If you get their snail mail address, even better. But you should be, that's your key asset, because if everything blows up on your business, and I've had this happen where everything just blew up, algorithm changed on Amazon, a competitor took me down, pricing changes on something. I was able to pivot because I had a list of customers, and it may be pivot to the same product and now drive them to Walmart or to Shopify, or pivot to a whole different thing that those people want. And one of my businesses I've been running for the calendars, the business for 20 some odd years. And we sell a lot on Amazon, like a lot every fall on Amazon. And it's hugely, hugely profitable. I've talked about this, $1.50, $1.60 this year landing cost. We sell them for $20, and I do no PPC, zero PPC. And we sell hundreds of thousands of dollars, of every one of them on Amazon in a matter of a month or two. But I also have a list of 16,000 people that have bought from me over the past 15 years. And I email to those people. I send direct mail, like in the physical postcards in the mail. And those people alone could support me 100% if everything else went to shit. But because I have that, I'm able to do that. I'm able to pivot. I'm able to sell those guys that they bought calendars. Well, I also know they want to buy these other things. And we've sold them other things and pivoted to that. So that should be your number one goal in all of this. Amazon is an excellent place to launch, and Walmart is not as good. It's good, but it's not as good. And Shopify is okay, but it's a whole different animal to market on Shopify. But if you can leverage this marketplace and capture 10, 20% of those people that are buying off of Amazon, get them onto your list somehow, that they want to be on the list, not just because they had to opt in or give you something to get a warranty, but they want to hear from you. That's called raving fans. And you don't need a lot. You hear people say, like Norm was saying earlier, this list is 50,000. This other guy has 250,000. That's pretty freaking meaningless, actually. It's a great start, but it's actually, that's a great thing. And when Norm says that, like, cool, let's talk to him. But I want to know how many of those people actually give a damn. And it sounds like it's about 5,000 of them. He says it's a 10% conversion rate. So about 5,000. So a list of 5,000 is good enough. A list of 1,000 can be good enough of raving fans. Just look at Taylor Swift, what she's doing. If you follow anything on TikTok, how she's filling out these stadiums. That's what you want to get to. You want to become the Taylor Swift of your industry, of your thing, where people, no matter what you do, they will, hotels will fill up more than they will for a convention to go see a Taylor Swift concert, because people are coming from everywhere and they're standing outside singing the songs in the on the hills overlooking the stadium because they couldn't get in. That's where you want to be. And the only way to do that is to actually control your audience and to be able to market to them properly.
You're talking
and Amazon
about,
should then become a shopping cart of choice.
Yeah. So going back to that, the newsletters or emails, and when you're taking a look at 50,000 or 280,000, yeah, you're right. It doesn't mean that 280,000 people are going to be, engaged raving fans. You groom the list, and like kudos to Kelsey. We've taken lists of tons of people, and it's not a huge list, but we have 1,500 people that are loyal fans that open up 70% of the time, 65 to 70% open rate with the letter. And we thought we were doing really well before, when we were getting 23%, until Adrian Savage came on and he said, yeah, that sucks. And, he talked to us, and it's a great podcast, by the way. If you want to listen to it, I think Kelsey will be able to pop it up. But it's really incredible to show how you groom your list. And it's like a vanity number. So 50,000 And I know that the 50,000 I'm talking about are making this guy money, and he's grooming his list. He's doing it properly. But like for us, we could say we have 40,000 people that we were sending out to, 20,000 people. But if it's not converting, and people aren't engaging with it, and they're not opening it, then it's no good. But I do want to circle back. There are a couple of other things that you can do, based on this question. Are giveaways working? Well, yeah. First of all, you can use, and it doesn't cost very much at all, micro influencers. I go down that influencer. We've talked about it a lot. We've got lots on the podcast about nano and micro influencers, how easy it is to get them product. And a lot of them don't want to charge you anything. Now, finding them, that's a different story. It's all different on different platforms, but you can definitely do that. The other thing is, there's companies out there that have just changed it up, surveys and polling, and you can talk to them. They're the same companies that were around before. You've got the Rank Bells of the world, Rebate, who's one of our sponsors. They do exactly that. They'll go out and find actually micro and nano influencers and get them to talk about the product. But there's a lot of them, IntelliRank, AZ Rank. But these are all companies that will do exactly what you're talking about without the search, find, buy feature. So anyways, Kevin, I don't know if there's anything that you want to say to wrap it up, but then we'll go over to sponsor before the Wheel of Kelsey.
I'm good.
You're good?
I'm good.
All right, then. Okay, so we got an incredible giveaway. If you've just joined us in the second half, Kevin is giving away the BDSS recordings. Now, this is a $1,500 value. Nobody's got them. They're just being released today. And if you enter hashtag Wheel of Kelsey or tag 2 people, you'll be able to enter into this. Now, you only got about 30 seconds before we go over to the wheel. So, all right, Kelsey, hit the button for the sponsor. This episode of Lunch with Norm is sponsored by Rebate. Attention sellers and brand owners, want to reach more shoppers and boost sales? Rebate's platform connects sellers with shoppers seeking great deals on new products. They make it easy to offer promotions, handle rebates, and ensure seamless redemptions. With countless reviews from satisfied customers, Rebate is the go-to solution to increase your sales. Visit rebate.com today and start reaching more shoppers. Now let's get back to the show. We are back, and I think we have a couple of entries today, don't we, Kels? Just a couple.
Yeah, we got a ton right now. So yeah, let's head over to the wheel and see who the winner is.
It's time for the Wheel of Kelsey.
Alrighty. Well, thanks everyone for entering today's Wheel of Kelsey. I'm going to shuffle these up and let's see, do we have another person? All right. Okay. Oh, Marina. Okay, here we go. Let's see who today's winner is. If you
Whoever gave you the most money, right?
Yeah. Oh, Redbeard.
Who's that? Oh, Redbeard got it. All right. Congrats.
All right. So Redbeard, just email me k@lunchwithnorm.com and we'll hook you up with the BDSS replay.
Okay. Now, just on a note, we were talking about networking and the sitting around a fire, having a cigar. Kevin, before you go, why don't we just talk quickly about an event that's coming up that we are both participating in, the CMS event.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, Norm and I formed a little society called the Collective Mind Society. And the idea behind this is not to go to another conference or another convention, but it's to go hang out with like-minded people. You know, there could be people from the Amazon world, could be people from different walks of life in entrepreneurship or business or entertainment or marketing or whatever it may be. And it's a small group. It's 12 to 20 of us. And what we do is we go and we do something fun. So we call it experiential masterminding. So the masterminding part comes from just hanging out with other people. You're sitting around at dinner, you're sitting around a campfire smoking cigars at night, or you're doing some sort of fun thing. We did the first one last year at the F1 races in Austin. We had 12 people came out. Kelsey was there as well, and it was a blast. We go. These are top level experiences. It's not let's go for a hike. These are like things that are on a lot of people's bucket list, or cool things that you're just not going to normally do. So like at the F1, we rented a very expensive, like $80,000 cabana on the side of right on the edge of turn 1.
The best turn.
Yeah, the best turn. It had a little shaded area. It had food. You go eat, you lunch, breakfast and lunch and snacks. All you could drink alcohol. Had a little shaded area. Had little chairs out front. And so we hung out there. We got to do a pit walk. We got to do a whole bunch of cool stuff. There were concerts each night out at F1. Ed Sheeran and Green Day. So we had VIP, like not standing in the crowd, with all the teenagers, but actually VIP seats with booze and snacks and stuff. Then we went to the Marshmallow concert, which was separate from F1, but we had like a lounge, VIP, like old couches and stuff right up close to the stage. Then we did a really nice dinner, like a 10-course dinner at this really fancy restaurant. Just 10 of us. We sat in the kitchen and ate. So it's not a restaurant where you sit at chairs and tables. It's like in the kitchen. We did a thing at a place called the Roosevelt Room. We went and smoked cigars at a cigar lounge. We did a lot of really cool stuff. And all those times we're just networking and talking and, sharing life experiences, sharing stories. Oh, have you heard this podcast? Have you read this book? Oh, I'm having this issue with, have you ever done this kind of marketing? You ever heard newsletters? Whatever it may be. And people are taking notes. Everybody's got their phones out at some point. Like, oh, let me make a note of that. I got to check that out later. And so that's what we're doing again. We do try to do 1 to 2 a year. So we did one last year. We're doing one this year in September in Canada, and it's called the Rocky Mountain Express Train. So there's a train that goes from, I don't know if most of you know, but the Rocky Mountains most of you know the Rocky Mountains as being in Colorado, if you have much familiar with geography in the U.S., but they extend up into part of Canada, and it's a beautiful area. I've been there, and this train starts in Vancouver, Canada, so on the west side of Canada. And for 2 days, it actually makes its way over to Banff, which is close to Calgary. And along the way, the train, you eat your breakfast on the train, you eat your lunch on the train. It's like 5-star. It's like nice dining. It's not like go grab a sandwich from the train, from the food cart. It's sit at a table and like serve you properly. And along the way, they have people explaining things. You're passing like these stunning lakes, these stunning mountains, these stunning snow-capped mountains and glaciers and all this kind of stuff. And you have the roof of the train is completely glass, the cars that we're in. So you can see everything around. You're not just looking out a little window, and it's completely like it's really immersive. And we stop at a place halfway and have dinner and hang out, and then we do the train again the next day. And then the last day we're doing the Icefields Parkway, where we actually go up onto some just stunning lakes like Lake Moraine and Lake Louise, just stunning, beautiful scenery. If you've never seen this stuff, it's
Unbelievable
postcard stuff. Yeah. And there's glaciers up in there. And so we're doing that. And then we have an option for like a helicopter to go over some of the stuff. It's about a 4-day thing. It's not cheap, and we don't make money on this. This is not a money-making thing for me and Norm. If we walk away with a few $100 in our pocket, we're happy. But last year we actually had to dig into our pockets quite a bit.
Quite a bit,
several $1,000s each to actually make this work. But we do it for the fun and to be able to hang out with people and bring them together. So we're doing one in September. It's the 24th to the 28th of September. Starts in you fly into Vancouver and you fly out of Calgary on the 28th, or you could stay the night in Calgary on the 28th and fly out on the 29th. There'll be information at collectivemindsociety.com website soon. That the website still has the F1 stuff, but they're in the process of updating in that. But I think if you go,
we've got it in the chat. It's at amgmarketer.com/train.html.
Yeah, there's a link there that if you want to get more information and see what it's about. And when you see the price, you're like, oh, wow, that sounds expensive. But this is first class all the way. This is the best hotels, the best train, the best car on the train. That includes everything except your airfare. So that's all your food, all the transport, all the tours. So the only money you come out of your pocket is maybe an Uber to get from the hotel to the airport. and your airfare, and then maybe if you buy some souvenirs or something, a snack or something along the way somewhere. But everything else is covered. And it's not a moneymaker for us. That's really, if you go break down the costs, you're going to see that's going to be really close to that, if not more expensive.
We're transparent when it comes to that. What we're trying to do is find really cool people with the same mindset and just hang out, just hang around that campfire and have a cigar. If you don't smoke cigars, do whatever you want to do. But it's just so much comes out of it. And one thing that we'll be putting onto the website, some of the testimonials from last year, people couldn't believe what we were able to do. And I've got to give kudos to Kevin, because he put together some stuff that was like a private concert with Marshmello. Like we were VIP, like I'd call it double VIP tickets to see Marshmello. And it was so cool. This restaurant, and this isn't a pitch for it. If you're interested in it, check it out. Like I said, we've got 12 to 20, depending on how many people sign up, that we can go out there and you'll have a blast. If this is something that you're looking for, these experiential masterminds, then we'd be happy to have you out there. All right, sir.
Yes.
Mr. King.
That's me.
Don't go away. I know you got a dentist appointment real soon.
I do.
But hang backstage for a second.
All right.
I just want to thank you for coming up and, talking again, answering all these questions. It's always a blast having you on the podcast. So
it's always fun to be here. No problem, man. Glad to do it.
Want more great information? Don't forget to subscribe by clicking here. Also, if you want to check out our latest podcast, click over here.
Lunch with